Hello there, I've been scrap busting today. I end up with lots and lots and bits and pieces of scrap and just from leftovers of projects. I can't think what to do with particular pieces. So I've been doing a little bit of scrap busting. So I've had some bits of Whisper White cardstock and I've had some of this All My Love DSP. I had a couple of 6x6, that obviously is not scrap, but I had a couple of 6x6 pieces and I wanted to make some small cards, and I wanted to show you the Crafty Owl box buster, and I've been making these envelope boxes, so I thought I'd just combine the whole lot and just put it in a video. Any measurements and supplies and things, please go along to my blog, www.taffycrafting.blogspot.co.uk, and any measurements and links to my shop and links to products will be on the blog. So I've made 7 little note cards, and this comes from I promise you, if you could see my desk at the moment, it is a total, I think I say this every time I do a video, but I've been crafting all afternoon and my desk looks absolutely hideous. So I'm using the Butterfly Gala stamp set, and there is a sentiment here that says a little note. And just sometimes every now and again, we just want to write a note to somebody. It could be for anything. It could be to say thank you for something. It could be that you want to invite them to something. It could be that you're thinking about them. Maybe something's happened to them and you just want to write something down. It could be absolutely anything at all. And I've got 7 here, and I'm going to show you just, I mean, it's not difficult how I've made this, but I just wanted to make the 8th so you can see what's doing. And I'm going to make an envelope box to go with it. So let's just put those to one side. There isn't a one side on this desk, it's so bad. So I have something that I bought online. These are textured cards, they're 4x4, and they're just perfect for writing little notes. I could make my own cards, and I don't. I just don't do it. I end up buying pre-scored, pre-folded cards, but I liked these because they were textured. And so I had 8 pieces. Well, I had 2 pieces of 6x6 DSP in the All My Love suite. So I just chopped them both up into 4. And all I'm going to do is just put some glue on the back of this and then just stick that in the middle of that 4x4 card. Super, super easy. Nothing difficult about that. Although sometimes I find the easier tasks I end up completely mucking up. A little bit of glue on that. Decide what way round I want that. And just put that there. And just while the glue, just before it sets, just make sure you've got that central on that card. So I then cut some Whisper White cardstock, 3 inches by, I think that's 1 inch. No, yes it is, 3 inches by 1 inch, and then I put that through the triple banner punch, just through that one, well not that way, but I put it through that way and then punched it so that it gives you this flag, and then I stamped it. Whenever I stamp this first and then put it through, I never get it in the right spot, so I actually punched it, then stamped it. And I just want to put that there like that, and I'm going to use mini dimensionals for that, just to give it a little bit of dimension, hence why they're called dimensionals. It just gives it some height. And I've stamped that in crumb cake because here, this colour on here is crumb cake. And I'm just putting that just so it comes off the bottom of that DSP, but it's not quite gone to the end. You can put it on there however you like, really doesn't matter. You can maybe put something in the middle of that DSP, to the bottom, to the right, it's entirely up to you. But I've made all of those cards the same. So I'm just going to get my last envelope. So now I've got 8 of those, and that, you know, something like that, you know, that would make perhaps quite a nice gift to somebody, or just to have a nice box of cards ready so that when you have to write a note to somebody for whatever reason, you know, it could even be just maybe writing to your kid's school teacher or something to, you know, to say thank you. I don't know. I think lots of different reasons why we might send a note. Now, at this point, I've decided that I want to make a box for these to go in. I've not made this box. I've not tested it to check that it works, but I have made a box like this before for something else. So what I've done is I've gone to the Crafty Owl on YouTube. In fact, I just went into Google and I Googled the Crafty Owl Box Buster. On YouTube, she has a video on there and she explains it perfectly how to get the right box. And then there is also a link that you go to and you put in all of your numbers. So how she describes that is that you need to measure this bit here, and she calls that the height. I wonder why my boxes before have been going wrong, because I was calling that the height, the width, and that the depth. But she calls that the height. So make sure that when you're plugging your numbers in, choose if you want to use millimetres or inches. I always use inches, and I've measured that to be 1 inch, and that will sit quite, yes, that will sit quite snugly in that box. So that's the height, that's the width, and that's the depth. So I've got here, I wrote them down earlier, I've got here 4.5 width, 4.5 depth, 1 inch height. And when I plug all of those numbers into the Box Buster tool that she's created, so clever, what that tells me is that I need a piece of card that measures 8 5/8 of an inch. So I did get a bit of card, there it is. So I've got some 12 by 12 and I need my paper trimmer for that. This is what I use for all of my paper trimming. So 8 5/8. There's 8.5 along 2 more 8s gives me 8 5/8. So I'm going to trim that, put that scrap to one side, and I have to think of something to do with that. And 8 5/8. Now I would normally use what I've got here. This card is in a colour that they call Craft, and I don't know if you can still get it, but I don't have a lot of 12 by 12 card stock at the moment. I kind of try to deplete my stock so that I can then buy more, basically. So I wouldn't normally have gone for this. I might have gone for a different colour, and there is crumb cake, but anyway, I'm going to stick with that. And what I'm going to do is when I've cut it all out, I'm going to decorate it. Anyway, so on that box builder, she tells me what my measurements need to be. So I'm going to get my envelope punch board, and she says that the first punch needs to be at 3 5/8 and the second punch at 5. So this is how this works. This is, if you've never seen it before, here's the envelope punch board. Absolute most versatile piece of kit you can buy. You can do so much with it. And you very rarely make envelopes with it. But you can make envelopes on it. It's got all of the instructions here. But you can make boxes on it as well. I've made several boxes. You'll see those on my YouTube channel of all the different boxes. Lots and lots of boxes you can make. Just go into YouTube, type envelope punch board gift box, millions of the things. So what do I want? 3 5/8. So I'll go along to 3 5/8. So I've got my scoring tool. Now what you will see, actually it doesn't matter here because it does go along to there. Right, ignore what I've just said. So 3 5/8. So I punch, and just in here somewhere is a groove. So you are going to find that groove there and then score. Not too hard, but hard enough so that you get a groove going on there. And then the second punch is at 5. So I'll go along to the end there where it says 5, and I punch and I score. And then what I do now is I rotate that 90 degrees, and here I have this score guide, and I'm going to match my score guide with each of my score lines that I've made. So I match up the score line, punch it and score. Move along again to match that second score line, punch and score. And I do that again. I rotate it, match the score line with the score guide, punch and score, move along again, punch and score, and the final time I don't think I got the beginning there. There we go. And then move along again, punch and score. Before we get rid of our punch board, we get rid of all that underneath, I then want to round these corners. And I just put them into the top of the envelope punch board there, and then just punch, and then that just rounds those corners off nicely. And I always have my envelope punch board out all of the time. This is how I do all of my... That one does not want to round. I'll have a word with it in a minute. There we are. Now, because the box that I want to make is square, the next part doesn't really matter for me where I'm going to actually make my cuts. But if you were making a rectangular shape, you would have two small triangles here and two big triangles here. But because this one is square, I've got four big triangles. So what you need to do when you're looking at yours, have your small triangles here and your big triangles here, and you want your first big triangle here. And then we're going to make some cuts. My scissors have gone walkabout, so I'm just going to use an alternative set of scissors. And we've got two score lines here. So one here, and we are just going to cut up to this first score line here. So just going to go like that and like that. And then I'm going to turn this round and I'm going to do exactly the same. And then I'm going to fold and burnish all of my score lines. Now I'm going to use my bone folder for this. And I'm going to burnish my score lines, really flatten them, make them nice and crisp, because we want this box to just form nicely. We don't want to have to be fighting with any of these. Let's just fold them, give them a really good crease so we get a really good box. Now, at this point, I just want to decorate the front of my box. And I'm going to get some DSP. And I'm just going to measure that. So just this inner square, I'm going to measure that. Everything has just disappeared. So I can't find my ruler. So that measures 4.5. So I'm going to get some DSP and I'm going to make that, what am I going to make that? 4.25 inches all the way around. Trusty old paper trimmer comes out again. So 4.25, and that will give me a nice border all the way around. 4.25 that way and 4.25 that way. Now what I ideally would have done would have had some DSP that matched the DSP on my cards, but I've run out. I must have made lots of projects using that. So I'm just going to glue that on there. So I've got a really nice decorator, because this is a bit boring, isn't it? So let's just decorate this with anything. You could even stamp your own cardstock. You could even stamp the cardstock that you make the that you make this box out of. So I'm just going to stick that on there. I'm not thinking about what direction it's going in. So there we have that on there. Let's just get the top on my glue. Now, I'm now going to put some glue onto the outside flap, just this one here, not this one. So this is the outside of the box, and I'm just going to put some tape here. This is just kind of double-sided tape, like tear and tape. And this is going to make the bottom of the box. So I've got those on there, and what I'm going to do, you see that we've got those two flaps, and what we're going to do is put those to the inside of that there and stick them down like that. So I'm going to take the backing off. You can use wet glue if you like, but you need to hold it together and wait for it to set. So just make the cut line match the score line, really push that down. Make sure that has stuck. I'm going to do the same with this side. Oops. So again, the cut side has just matched the scored line, and just push that to make sure that that's stuck. Now, what we have here, this is where your cards will sit. Let's just kind of pray a little bit that they fit. Yes, they do. I'm quite happy with that. It's going to sit in there like that. So we'll take those out. I don't need them in there just yet. So this is how our box is going to go together. I'm not going to glue these. You could actually take them away, but I just think they just give it a bit of extra protection there. Okay, so what I need to do, so that's how my box is sitting at the moment. These come in like that, and what I want is that to come in there like that. So I'm going to put some adhesive here, and then very carefully I've got to get that square, because if you start to squish it in, it loses its shape. But as soon as you push that there, you know, you've got to get it there bang on. So let's be brave. So I'm going to put just run some tape along there. Right, now I've got the adhesive on here. So what I need to do, I'm just going to push that together like that until it looks square. You could put, I'm thinking, would I put my cards in there now? But no, I'm thinking I won't actually. So just very carefully, once you think you've got that in the right shape, you can hear my dog sniffing at the door wanting to come in. And just push that down there. I'm just going to grab hold of that and stick it. Oh, that's not stuck. Now that's stuck. There we go. Yeah, that is stuck. So now we have a nice, that's gone together quite nicely, squared off there. That comes over like that, and we turn it over, and then our box has got a nice front to it. What we could do, and I'm going to do this extremely quickly, is I'm actually going to make that on there again with just a note. So I need to trim this to 3 inches. That already measures an inch because this was an offcut of something. So trim this to 3 inches. just literally thrown that scrap bit behind me. So I've got that there. Get my triple banner punch, slot that in there and punch it. I've got my Just a Note stamp. I've got my crumb cake ink. Line it up. I've got the light shining on it. I can't see a thing. I think I've got away with that. And I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of that. And I'm rushing and everything is sticking. And I'm just going to put that there like that. At least then I know when I pick this box up, I know what's in it. And what I really should have is some matching DSP, and that's not happened. So there's my box. Going to put a closure on it yet, don't worry, I haven't forgotten that. There are my 8 cards, and they fit in there. Please fit in there. They fit in like that. I could actually probably make another couple, but there we go. They're in there like that. So I want that to close. I was making a project quite a while ago, and I needed some Velcro dots. And I just went on Amazon and looked up Velcro dots. So I'm going to take, I don't think it matters which one, but I'm just going to take the bristly one. And I'm going to put that there. So where that all meets, I'm going to put that there like that. And then I'm going to get the softer one. And I'm just going to place that on top there like that. If you're thinking, why the heck are you doing that? I'll show you why. This is the way to get it to match. Fold over that just where you want it to be. That then comes over, push it down a little, and then you can undo it. And it goes back on again. So there you have a set of note cards. Slightly easier than making a 2-part box, but if you look up the Crafty Owl Box Buster, you can pretty much do any size box. Once your box starts getting bigger, then you're going to have to find a piece of card that's bigger than 12 by 12, but that's for a 4.5. That's a 4.5 inch square by 1 inch box, and I think that is so cute. And now that very boring beige box now looks a little bit more interesting. I hope you enjoyed that. That was just a little odd thing that I wanted to do tonight after making some cards earlier on. Please hit that subscribe button and come and join me again soon. Thank you. See you later.